Friends, this is Chinese Animation Xian. Today we're going to talk about a topic that all fans of Beyond Time are curious about. Among all the life and death trials Xu Qing has been through, which one was the closest to death? We all know that Xu Qing's life has never been easy. From the slums to the Immortal Lord realm, he has walked on the edge of life and death countless times. He's been hunted down by the Vajra Sect's ancestor, fought bloody battles with the Sea Corpse race's strongmen, and even self-destructed to resist the purple-green crown prince. Every time, he narrowly escaped death, but if we have to pick the one that made him truly touch the threshold of death, where he was so close to disappearing completely, it's definitely the time he fought against the Purple Mansion Dao Lord in the Wanggu Continent, the battle that almost cost him his life and even his soul. Before we talk about this life and death battle, let's take a step back and figure out why this battle was so desperate. At that time, Xu Qing had already left the 7 blood pupils and grown into a powerful cultivator who could stand alone. He had experienced the cruelty of the Sea Corpse race, the intrigue of the 8th Sex Alliance, and had even become the 4th prince of the 7 blood pupils, with his own followers and forces. But even so, when he faced the Purple Mansion Dao Lord, he was like a tiny ant facing a towering mountain. There was no room for resistance, only endless despair and the instinct to survive. First, let's get to know the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. This guy was not an ordinary enemy. He was a legendary figure in the Wanggu Continent, a cultivator who had stepped into the Dao Lord realm, and his strength was far beyond what Xu Qing could match at that time. The Purple Mansion Dao Lord had lived for countless years, mastered terrifying supernatural powers, and even controlled a part of the power of the divine fragment. He was cruel, ruthless, and regarded all living beings as ants, especially those who dared to go against his will. And the reason why he targeted Xu Qing was not just because of a trivial conflict, but because Xu Qing had inadvertently obtained a treasure that the Purple Mansion Dao Lord had been searching for thousands of years, the fragment of the gatekeeper's will. This fragment was closely related to the divine umbilical cord and the truth of the world, and the Purple Mansion Dao Lord would do anything to get it, even if it meant destroying everything in his path. At that time, Xu Qing was hiding in a remote valley in the Wanggu Continent, trying to refine the fragment of the gatekeeper's will and break through his realm. He thought he had hidden well, but he didn't know that the Purple Mansion Dao Lord had already tracked him down through the aura of the fragment. On that day, the sky over the valley suddenly turned dark, and the wind howled like ghosts crying. The entire valley was surrounded by a terrifying pressure, so strong that even the rocks on the mountain began to crack, and the spiritual energy in the air became stagnant. Xu Qing, who was in the middle of cultivation, felt a chill run down his spine instantly. He knew that a powerful enemy was coming, and this enemy was far beyond his ability to resist. Before he could react, a figure appeared in front of him out of thin air. That figure was wearing a purple robe, with long hair fluttering in the wind, and his eyes were cold and indifferent, like 2 ice pools that could freeze everything. Just standing there, the pressure he released made Xu Qing's blood boil, and he could barely stand still. That was the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. He looked at Xu Qing as if he was looking at a trivial toy, and his voice was cold and piercing. Hand over the fragment of the gatekeeper's will, and I can give you a painless death. Xu Qing has never been a person who surrenders easily. Even in the face of such a powerful enemy, he didn't flinch. He clenched his fists, mobilized all the spiritual energy in his body, and even implanted the purple crystal into his heart again. This was his way of forcing himself to burst out all his potential. He knew that this battle was a matter of life and death, and if he surrendered, he would die. If he fought, he might still have a glimmer of hope. So he roared, and his shadow ability erupted completely, turning into a black shadow that rushed towards the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. At the same time, he cast the Imperial-level skill, Golden Crow refines all spirits, and the golden flames wrapped around his body, like a burning sun, trying to resist the terrifying pressure of the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. But the gap in strength was too big. The Purple Mansion Dao Lord didn't even move a finger. He just waved his sleeve lightly, and a powerful purple energy rushed out, directly hitting Xu Qing's body. In an instant, Xu Qing felt as if he had been hit by a mountain. His body flew backwards violently, hitting the rock wall of the valley with a loud bang, and a mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth. The golden flames on his body were instantly extinguished, and his shadow ability also collapsed. His bones were broken in many places, and the spiritual energy in his body was chaotic, like a broken river, flowing uncontrollably. At that moment, Xu Qing felt the breath of death approaching him. He lay on the ground, unable to move, and even breathing became extremely difficult. The Purple Mansion Dao Lord walked slowly towards him, step by step, and each step seemed to step on Xu Qing's heart. He squatted down, looked at Xu Qing with a mocking smile, and said, "You are very brave, but bravery is useless in the face of absolute strength. I will take the fragment from your body, and then let your soul be refined by me, so that you can never be reborn." As he spoke, the Purple Mansion Dao Lord stretched out his hand, and a purple light appeared in his palm, directly grabbing towards Xu Qing's chest. That purple light was full of terrifying destructive power, and it was obvious that he was going to take out the fragment of the gatekeeper's will directly from Xu Qing's body, along with his heart. At that moment, Xu Qing could clearly feel the cold touch of the purple light on his chest, and he could even feel his soul trembling. He knew that if he couldn't resist this blow, he would die completely, and there would be no chance of resurrection. In that desperate moment, Xu Qing thought of a lot. He thought of the days he spent struggling in the ruins, picking up garbage to survive. He thought of team leader Lei, who took him out of the ruins and gave him warmth. He thought of Chen Ernu, Zhang San, and other companions who fought side by side with him. He also thought of the promise he made to himself, to become stronger, to protect the people he cared about, and to pursue the truth beyond time. These thoughts gave him a glimmer of strength. He refused to die. He didn't want to die. He still had a lot of things to do, a lot of people to protect. So he used the last of his strength to mobilize the remaining spiritual energy in his body, and even burned his own blood essence. His eyes turned blood red, and a terrifying aura erupted from his body. This was the potential he burst out in the face of death, the most primitive desire to survive. He stretched out his hand with difficulty, grabbed the Purple Mansion Dao Lord's wrist, and tried to stop him. But his strength was so weak compared to the Purple Mansion Dao Lord that it was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree. The Purple Mansion Dao Lord frowned slightly, as if he was annoyed by Xu Qing's resistance. He increased the strength in his hand, and the purple light became more intense, directly penetrating Xu Qing's chest. The pain was indescribable. Xu Qing felt as if his chest was being torn apart, and the fragment of the gatekeeper's will in his body was being pulled out. His vision began to blur, and his hearing became distorted. He could only hear his own heartbeat, which was getting weaker and weaker, and the cold laughter of the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. He felt his soul beginning to leave his body, and the world around him was gradually turning dark. He was so close to death, so close that he could already see the gate of the underworld. But just when he was about to lose consciousness completely, something unexpected happened. The fragment of the gatekeeper's will, which was being pulled out of his body, suddenly emitted a bright golden light. That golden light was warm and powerful, directly repelling the purple light of the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. At the same time, a vague figure appeared in the golden light. It was the projection of the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper's projection didn't say anything, but just waved his hand gently, and a powerful force poured into Xu Qing's body. In an instant, the pain in Xu Qing's chest disappeared, and the broken bones began to heal quickly. The chaotic spiritual energy in his body was reorganized, and his soul, which was about to leave his body, was pulled back. He opened his eyes wide, looking at the golden light in front of him, and felt a new lease on life. The Purple Mansion Dao Lord was also shocked by this sudden change. He looked at the gatekeeper's projection with a look of fear, and he didn't dare to act rashly anymore. The gatekeeper's projection looked at the Purple Mansion Dao Lord indifferently, and his voice was like the sound of heaven and earth. "He is the chosen one, you cannot kill him. Leave now, or I will erase your existence completely." The Purple Mansion Dao Lord's face was extremely ugly. He knew the power of the gatekeeper, and he didn't dare to confront the gatekeeper's projection head-on. But he was unwilling to give up the fragment of the gatekeeper's will. He stared at Xu Qing for a long time, and finally gritted his teeth and said, "I will not let this go. Next time we meet, I will definitely kill you." After saying that, he turned around and disappeared into the air, leaving only a trace of cold air. After the Purple Mansion Dao Lord left, the gatekeeper's projection also gradually dissipated. The golden light disappeared, and the fragment of the gatekeepers will return to Xu Qing's body, merging with his soul. Xu Qing lay on the ground, gasping for breath. His body was still weak, but his heart was full of shock and gratitude. He knew that if it weren't for the gatekeeper's projection, he would have died just now. And there would be no future Immortal Lord Xu Qing. That moment was the closest he had ever been to death. His body was broken, his soul was on the verge of collapse, and he could do nothing but wait for death. It was a kind of despair that he had never felt before, even when he was hunted down by the Vajra Sect's ancestor, or when he fought against the Sea Corpse race's strongmen. He never felt so helpless. Let me tell you, folks, what made this experience even more terrifying was that the Purple Mansion Dao Lord didn't just want to kill Xu Qing physically, but also wanted to refine his soul. In the cultivation world, death is not the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing is that the soul is destroyed, and you can never be reborn, even in the cycle of reincarnation. The Purple Mansion Dao Lord's method was to refine Xu Qing's soul into his own nourishment, which would make Xu Qing disappear completely from the world, without even a trace of existence left. That's why this battle was the closest Xu Qing came to death. He was not only facing the threat of physical death, but also the destruction of his soul. After this battle, Xu Qing lay in the valley for 3 full months to recover. During these 3 months, he thought a lot. He realized how weak he was in front of the top powerhouses, and he also realized the importance of the fragment of the gatekeeper's will. This experience became a turning point in his growth. After recovering, he became more diligent in his cultivation, and he no longer only relied on his cruelty and forbearance. He began to focus on comprehending the Tao, on improving his realm, and on mastering more powerful supernatural powers. He knew that only by becoming stronger, strong enough to surpass the Purple Mansion Dao Lord, could he truly protect himself and the people he cared about, and could he avoid such a desperate situation again. Many people might say that Xu Qing had other close calls with death. For example, when he broke into the Vajra Sect to save team leader Lei, he was surrounded by countless enemies, and he almost died at the hands of the Vajra Sect's ancestor. Or when he sneaked into the Sea Corpse race's territory to steal opportunities, he was discovered by the Sea Corpse race's strongmen. And he fought a bloody battle to escape. But these experiences are not as close to death as the battle with the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. When he fought the Vajra Sect's ancestor, he still had a way to escape, and he still had the faceless female ghost to help him. When he fought the Sea Corpse race's strongmen, he still had Shen Erniu by his side, and he could rely on his shadow ability to hide and escape. But in the face of the Purple Mansion Dao Lord, he had no way to escape, no one to help him, and even his own strength was completely crushed. He could only wait for death, and the only reason he survived was because of the accidental appearance of the gatekeeper's projection. It was a kind of luck, a kind of miracle, and it was also the closest he had ever been to disappearing completely. Another thing that made this experience unforgettable was the feeling of despair. When the Purple Mansion Dao Lord's purple light penetrated his chest, when he felt his soul leaving his body, he really thought that everything was over. He thought that he would never see his companions again, that he would never be able to fulfill his promise, and that he would never be able to pursue the truth beyond time. That kind of despair is more terrifying than any pain, more terrifying than any enemy. It's the kind of helplessness that makes you want to give up, the kind of darkness that makes you lose all hope. But Xu Qing didn't give up. Even in that desperate situation, he still held on to the last glimmer of hope, and it was this glimmer of hope that allowed him to survive, that allowed him to wait for the arrival of the gatekeeper's projection. After this battle, Xu Qing's state of mind also changed a lot. He became more mature, more calm, and more aware of the weight of life. He no longer fought recklessly, but learned to plan carefully, to accumulate strength, and to wait for the right time. He also became more cherishing of the people around him, because he knew that life is fragile, and any carelessness could lead to eternal separation. This experience also made him more determined to pursue the Tao, to become stronger, because he knew that only strength can bring peace, only strength can protect the people he cares about, and only strength can avoid such a desperate situation again. Folks, let's think about it. Xu Qing has been through so many life and death trials, But why is this battle with the Purple Mansion Dao Lord the closest he came to death? Because in this battle, he had no way out, no help, and his strength was completely crushed. He was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, and the only reason he survived was because of a miracle. This battle made him understand the true meaning of life and death, made him grow rapidly, and laid the foundation for his later breakthrough to the Immortal Lord realm. I still remember when I first read this part of the story, my heart was in my throat. I was so worried that Xu Qing would die, that this cruelest male protagonist would disappear just like that. But fortunately, he survived, and he became stronger because of this experience. That's the charm of Xu Qing. No matter how desperate the situation is, he never gives up, he always holds on to the last glimmer of hope, and he always can burst out unexpected potential in the face of death. This is also why we all like Xu Qing, why we are moved by his journey. In fact, this experience is also a metaphor for our own lives. We will also encounter many Purple Mansion Dao Lords in our lives, those difficulties and setbacks that seem insurmountable, those moments that make us feel desperate. But just like Xu Qing, even in the face of these difficulties, we should not give up. We should hold on to the last glimmer of hope, burst out our potential, and fight hard. Because only in this way can we survive, can we grow, can we become better versions of ourselves. Going back to Xu Qing's story. After this battle, he never forgot the feeling of being close to death. He used this feeling as motivation to cultivate day and night, and his strength improved by leaps and bounds. Later, when he met the Purple Mansion Dao Lord again, he was no longer the weak cultivator who could only be crushed. He had grown into a powerful Immortal Lord, and he could face the Purple Mansion Dao Lord head-on, and even defeat him. This is the power of growth, the power of never giving up. So, to sum up, the closest experience to death in Xu Qing's life is definitely the battle with the Purple Mansion Dao Lord in the Wanggu Continent. In that battle, he was physically broken. His soul was on the verge of collapse, he had no way to escape, no one to help him, and he was almost refined by the Purple Mansion Dao Lord, disappearing completely from the world. It was a desperate battle, a battle that made him touch the threshold of death, and it was also a battle that made him grow into a stronger person. Folks, I believe that after listening to this, you can understand why this experience is the closest Xu Qing came to death. It's not just because of the danger of physical death, but also because of the threat of soul destruction, the despair of being helpless, and the miracle of surviving by a hair's breadth. This experience is an important part of Xu Qing's growth, and it's also one of the most touching parts of Beyond Time. If you have different opinions, if you think there is another experience where Xu Qing was closer to death, you can leave a message to discuss with me. But in my opinion, no other experience can compare with this battle with the Purple Mansion Dao Lord. Because in that battle, Xu Qing truly faced the fear of death, truly felt the helplessness of being weak, and truly relied on his own will and a miracle to survive. This is the most unforgettable life and death trial in his life, and it's also the one that made him the Xu Qing we know today. That's all for today, folks. I hope this sharing can let you have a deeper understanding of Xu Qing's growth path, and also let you feel the charm of Beyond Time. Next time, we can talk about other interesting topics about Beyond Time, such as the most touching moment in Xu Qing's life, or the most powerful enemy he has ever encountered. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can leave a message, and we'll continue next time.